Tether essentially has like a stable coin backed by gold that they actually came out with. And back in 2020, which has a market cap of around $830 million, it trades around at $3,300. So each of the token represents about like 1 troy ounce, which is 31 grams of gold. So they've been in this business like for a while, where the gold is like stored in Swiss vaults, audited by like certain companies. They announced a partnership with Ton blockchain, which is basically the blockchain for Telegram users, where they can have access to this exact token ecosystem. So the token is called XAUT0. So the zero comes from them using the layer 0 protocol, which is essentially making it like seamless for people on Telegram to use their wallets and kind of have exposure to the stablecoin backed by gold. Tether also came up with like a report, I believe, in Q1, where they mentioned that they have about 7.7 tons of gold that's backed 1-to-1 through their ecosystem. And yeah, it's like something that they've been talking about a lot. Definitely, real world assets has been like a big conversation in everyday space. They built this in like 2020 with the same idea of like people hedging against inflation and wanting exposure on gold. And now on Telegram, you have like everyday users who have this ability to get exposure to that ecosystem. So yeah, it's something that they've like recently rolled out, and yeah, it's been a talk of the town. Funny enough, like before I looked it up on this document today, I was out with someone from the Ton ecosystem, and they were just talking about that they have been like, they didn't mention to me exactly like the token ecosystem, but they were saying that they are very much looking to onboard a lot of people into buying stable coins backed by gold and stuff. So I had this conversation last night. So it's something that apparently they think that a lot of Telegram users might just be interested in.
Interesting. Curious. Just on a personal note, Rahim, and maybe we can end the show going around here. If you wanted gold exposure, is this the way you do it? My instinct with gold, and maybe this is completely, I don't know, unfair or not logical, but it's like, if you have so much crypto exposure, do I want my gold also like on chain, or do I want to have some physical stuff? I don't know if that's just like an instinctive feeling, not necessarily logical, but what's your view?
Yeah, I think like I'm pretty much in the same boat. It's like at some point you're like, how much risk do you want to have in this space? And it's not even risk on like the crypto side of it. It's also on the self custody side of it. Like,
yeah, like where's the
every day
gold
you're reading about, like recently I've been hearing so many people getting like their telegrams hacked, and like the most random, like your entire system. So I'm completely with you on this. Like at this point, it's like that level that, okay, even with like stable coins, how much risk do I want to have with like stable coins and stuff? And like how much risk do I want to have with something like gold being on like crypto, being on an ecosystem that I still feel like Ton is still figuring? Maybe like, okay, Tether, I would be like a lot more open to it, but Ton, I still feel like there's so much. Oh, for sure. I think Tether definitely. I mean, like the fact that they're one of the most successful companies, not just like in crypto, but like overall in terms of like the revenue they've been making, I think that definitely adds to the legitimacy. But yeah, it's still too risky for me personally.
I'll take the other side there. I mean, the gold I own is in the bar ETF, which is a custody. I don't have physical gold here, and ETFs have been pretty strong performers for 20 years as far as reliability to mirror the price of gold, and for redemptions to happen for, I guess, the market makers who do that. So obviously you're taking Tether risk, which I think as an entity, Tether's interesting because I think they have a bit of a shady reputation, but they've always delivered. I don't think anyone's ever had a bad experience where Tether did not deliver what they committed to. So I think this is clever. I think, actually getting physical gold, you're not going to buy and sell physical gold over the course of a day, whereas this gives people access to one of the hottest assets in the world right now, and one that I think has some theoretical and philosophical overlap with the buyer base here. So I think this is pretty clever of them, and I think it will get used a lot. And I think both as a trading vehicle and also as a store of value vehicle.
So you have exposure through ETF. Would you see yourself having exposure through Tether for gold?
I personally have zero advantage to use it versus using BAR, which is the ETF I use. So for me, I personally, but most people are less trusting of the economic system than I am. And a lot of people in crypto, particularly Tether user base, don't have access to US stock markets.
Yeah.
And so otherwise, anyone who has access to like a lot of vehicles would not be putting a lot of money in USDT because it gives zero yield on US dollars. Now you can do stuff with it to earn yield, but I mean, the vehicle is made for people largely who don't really have access to a lot of these kind of economic, these economic marketplaces that other people have. I personally trust Vanguard with my BAR ETF, but I'm an outlier, I think, relative to a lot of the Tether user base.
Good stuff. Final take, Ledge. Where do you sit?
Physical gold, for the reason that it's tax exempt after a year of holding it, which does not apply for ETFs. I would buy
Why is
ETFs
that?
otherwise.
What's the tax reason?
Obviously, the drawback with physical gold is cost of storage. I don't store that at home. I have a vault, which is not at home, so which I have to, pay my yearly fees for.
Sure.
I like the product though, and I would like it especially if it has a DeFi component to it. I can, lend my gold, earn a bit of yield on that, borrow against it. That would be fun to do. But yeah, for tax reasons, I'm camp physical gold. Otherwise, I would be like stats, plug it into the ETF, super low TER for that, very, very low cost that is. And it's just, I trust ETFs.